Hey everyone, my name is Chris Green. I want to welcome you to my channel, Learning Guitar with Chris Green. The whole purpose of this channel is to help you learn how to play the guitar, even from an absolute beginner level, and some more advanced techniques as you go along. Feel free to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It helps tell YouTube that this video is interesting and they'll push it out to more people, helping the channel grow. Also, if you want to support the channel and get some little goodies along the way, there'll be links in the description for my Patreon. By becoming an all access member, you can access PDFs and backing tracks that go along with these lessons here on YouTube. Okay, YouTube videos are completely free. Feel free to watch, hit the like and subscribe button, but make use of Patreon if you're looking for a little something extra. So today's video is all about the loop. And what I'm referring to the loop as is this finger picking pattern that really only involves two fingers. You've got your thumb, which is an appendage, and then you've got your index finger. Everything I was doing in the intro of the video was playing different positions. Kind of looks like power chords is what I'm doing. But I'm going to show you just real quickly how this finger picking pattern, I want you to notice my right hand technique, as I'm playing through just some basic chords in root position. So if I'm just playing in random keys, notice how this is literally the same finger picking pattern just over and over and over again. Always like to end on a G. But see how it's literally just your thumb and your index finger. I'm going to show you how to do this all in today's video. Of course, there'll be tab on the screen, which you can access. If you want some more stuff, again, head over to Patreon. I'll stop talking about that. Another thing is this cool shirt. This is a shirt my wife got me for Christmas. It is from one of my favorite movies, Lord of the Rings. All the movies are great, but this is an int, and I mention it only because it keeps sticking, whatever the graphic is, it keeps sticking to my guitar. So I'm being a little paranoid about that. But let's jump into the tab. So at the bottom of the screen now, if you're looking on your mobile device or your TV, you'll notice some letters and numbers. This very much looks like sheet music, but it is just simple guitar tab. So the letters at the top, basically we have P-I, P-I, I, P-I. In classical guitar, you have this thing called pima. Pima is referring to the fingers you have with which to pluck strings. So the thumb is going to be P. I really don't know why. I'm sure it's Italian or some sort of other language than English, but P is your thumb. I is your index finger. Okay. M is usually your middle finger, and then A is usually your ring finger. Okay. So Pima. We are just concerned with thumb and pointer finger. Real quickly, just to mention what we're chording with in this video, I'm only going to cover the G major little power chord here, but just know that as you learn it, you can certainly just slide this thing up and down the guitar neck if you like. That's on the PDF as well if you want to download that in the description. But we're just going to stay in this position at the 10th fret of the A string. We're going to put our pointer finger. This is of our fretting hand. And then our ring finger is going to skip 2 frets up to the 12th fret on the D string. Okay? And just so you know, whenever you're playing this kind of G shape, if you're intending to be like in the key of G or playing a G major chord, you don't want to hit the low E string whatsoever. We're going to start with the 10th fret of the A string. And pretty much we're going to be playing on the A string, the D string, and the G and B strings. Okay. Now this entire pattern is built on eighth notes. Eighth notes are very important when you're doing any sort of finger style or any sort of finger picking. Even if you're like a banjo player or you're doing bluegrass, tempo and rhythm is everything because you really don't want to play certain things fast and certain things slow. You want this consistency. So I highly recommend that you check out, there is an app that I believe it was free when I downloaded it, but it's an app called Tempo. If you're on an iPhone like I am, you can go to the App Store, just type in Tempo, and you want to look for these metronome apps. You should be able to find one that is completely free, but a metronome app is going to give you that robotic pulsing that you need to be able to hear. Okay, now I've recently had some failure with my Sony camera that I normally record video with, so I'm having to use my phone as our little guitar cam right here. But just know that is available on the App Store, and if you have the Tempo app, it's best to open it up and just have that consistent pulsing. Set it to something very slow at first. Maybe you want to do like 60 beats per minute or 70 beats per minute, and you want to count out the eighth notes. So you want it to be counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now looking at this tab, everything on the measure is eighth notes, so they need to be super even. When you are finger picking anything like this, where there are all these eighth notes together, every note needs to get the same length. So a metronome is going to help you out tremendously. So I'm starting on the 10th fret of the A string, and I'm going to pluck with my thumb. And now whenever I'm doing any finger picking, for the beginners out there, I'm not coming at the guitar like this, okay? So don't turn your thumb into a guitar pick. Typically a guitar pick is very pointed, like we would poke something, but with finger style, or when I'm finger picking, my thumb is actually parallel to the strings. So I'm using the side of my thumb, and you can see those indentions right there. So I'm gonna pluck the 10th fret, that is my first note, and then my pointer finger is already sitting or resting on the G string. So we wanna go 10th fret, and then an open G. And for a while, if this is your first finger picking lesson, you may just want to sit there, and with that metronome playing, you may just want to give them an eighth note each and just bounce back and forth. Another thing to note is that I'm not using any of these three fingers, so I'm feeling like I want to rest them on this high E string, basically so I can be anchored down. If I don't have anything connecting to the guitar and my hand is just floating, it's going to be easy for me to miss which string I'm actually supposed to be hitting. So I'm resting my hand, I'm resting my fingers on whatever strings are not being played, and that gives me the comfort I need to know where I'm at with my picking. Okay, so let's jump up to the 10th fret. We're going 10th fret A, open G string, and then your thumb is going to pluck the D string. Okay, try to get this in view for you. So we're going 10th fret, open 12th fret. And you'll notice if you look at the sheet music or the guitar tab, that open G string is on every syncopated eighth note. Okay, so it's not right on the beat. If we're counting this 1, 2, 3, 4, that open G string is on the offbeat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 G string. Okay, keep that in mind, might help you out. So we got 10th fret A, open G string, 12th fret with the thumb. And then here, our index finger is going to hit the open G string, then it's going to hit the open B string, back to the open G string, and then our thumb comes back where it should already have been. It should already be on that D string 12th fret, and then open G. So there's a little section in the middle where our index finger has 3 notes in a row, where it goes index. Now, those of you that maybe this might be beyond, you may already be kind of like an advanced player, you can feel free to throw in another finger, like if you want to use your middle finger instead. So if you have your open G string and then middle finger on the B string and then open G string on the I. Personally, the way that I've learned it and the way that I'm comfortable with it, just intuitively, I'm just sticking with the thumb and index finger most of the time. I'm just going to make it work. Okay, great. So let's go through that again. We're starting on the 10th fret of the A string. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now with everything, as you're practicing, you kind of have to do a little bit of mental gymnastics. So when you're sitting here and you're picking that slowly and you're thinking to yourself, 1 and 2, and when you're going that slow, I totally understand it can be unfun. It feels very unfun, but you mentally, you kind of have to develop this ability to anticipate what the future is going to hold. So I would refer to this as delayed gratification. If you are working on a new finger picking pattern, it is most likely not just going to come out that day. It may not even happen that week, but it will happen if you put the practice in to where just every day. I used to sit at home when I was in high school. If I'm watching SpongeBob or whatever, I would sit with a guitar on my lap on the couch. And whenever there would be a commercial breaks were like advertisements that used to happen during a show that you would watch, but there would be a commercial break and I would just grab my guitar and I would just, sit there and practice. And really that's what you need to do, because not only physically playing it, getting your fingers used to what they need to be doing, but mentally you're hearing this in your head over and over and over again. So your brain is pretty much telling your body, yes, you did that correctly. Okay. You want to make sure that the notes are very, very rigid. Be very disciplined about this when you're finger picking, and I can promise you that speed will come later. If you try to go too fast for it, you will end up just being really, really sloppy, and then for the rest of your life, you'll be thinking that you're doing it the right way. But if we're doing a private lesson one-on-one, I'm going to be listening for sloppiness, because as a teacher, I can sit there and I can hold you accountable to what you're playing. So practice as much as you can, going as slowly as you can, and then start to turn up. Like if you download that tempo app, I'm not affiliated or associated with that tempo app whatsoever, but whatever you're using as a tempo or a metronome, start to speed it up a little bit quicker. Bump it up 10 beats per minute every time that you do it successfully, like 8 times in a row. Okay. Not only that, but like I said before, this is basically it is a power chord. We've got a first and our fifth, a G and a D. G is the 10th fret of the A string. D is the 12th fret of the G string. Obviously you can take this and you can slide it down to your 7th and 9th, and this makes our E minor shape. This makes our D major shape. This is like our C shape. And then earlier in the video, this one's a bit of a stretch, but if you want to do, instead of going here to the 2nd and 4th frets, that one sounds a little dark. I can either use my pinky in this situation to go 2nd and 5th, or you can just stretch it out. We're going the 2nd fret of the A string and the 5th fret of the D string. And then for our quote unquote A minor, I'm just going to slide my ring finger all the way down to the 2nd fret of the A string, 2nd fret of the D string to get this A minor shape. That's just a little half step there. If I'm going from the 10th fret of the A string, I can just bring my index finger down. Same shape we were doing down here at 2 and 5, but now I'm doing 9 and 12. You can resolve it back to 10. And like I've said before, like I've used this all over the place. In fact, there was a wedding. I was asked to play the music for the wedding, and they needed some instrumental music, but they didn't know how long it needed to be. So rather than playing like a song that would have a melody or something like that, I just decided to use this finger picking pattern and just play in some different keys. It really works out if somebody's not sure if they need you for 20 seconds or hopefully not 20 minutes, but it really gives you a lot of flexibility there. So I hope you've enjoyed the lesson. Feel free to check out links in the description if you need a PDF to go along with this. Again, hit the like and subscribe buttons to help support the channel, and I'll see you at our next video. Thanks for watching.